we got here? This is a spot check. I'm gonna do this one here. I hate this book. Let's see what it says because I need two sureties. Why is this so? Sociologist Nathan Glazier has suggested that the Negro suffers from being in, but not of, American society. There are no traditions of the old country that bind Harlem as a ghetto. This is the home of America's internal aliens. The people participate in the consumption cult of the white world. The Negro is an exaggerated American, Myrtle said, and Harlem is Hollywood carried to its logical conclusion, poet Thomas Merton wrote. Yet the Negroes are poor. They do not huddle together around a language and a common memory from overseas, saving, planning, waiting for the breakthrough, isolated from the lures of easy life in the magazines and on television. That is part of it. Another part is that Harlem is quite literally the center of a migration, as every ghetto is. In 1950, almost two-thirds of the non-white Americans moved, as compared to a rate of 13% for the entire nation. The Negro in Harlem, as Ralph Ellison has written of him, is often shot up from the south into the busy city like wild jacks in the box broken loose from our springs, so sudden that our gait becomes like that of deep sea divers suffering from the bends. Page 65 of the Other America. Not so ironic, huh? Harlem. My Harlem, at least what I've been looking at lately, is a little different, right? But you're closer to Harlem than I am, right? You think it sounds probably right? Internal migration, West Coast, East Coast. You think you can handle that? What do I got here? Oh my. From the other one. Socialization revisited. Well, then, what is socialism? After all the qualifications and historic explanations, what is left of an idea that claimed to speak clearly of radical new modes of production and distribution on a world scale? There are two cultures of the left in every advanced country now trying to answer that question. As Thomas Meyer describes them, one is based primarily on the traditional working class and its allies and defended the Keynesian model. The other expresses the values of new and often relatively privileged social strata. At the polar extremes, growth for growth's sake confronts no growth. In Germany, this trend takes the form of a surprisingly successful Green Party and of the emergence within the social democracy itself of ecological and feminist currents. By 1984, these developments convinced the German socialists that they had to go through a collective and public process of writing a new basic program. Program, not program, right? I know. That one letter, it might make a big difference. An effort still underway, yet it is already clear from the Erster draft, the first statement of the program produced by a party commission under the leadership of Willy Brandt, that the final text will be light years removed from the Keynesian economism of the Godesberg Program 1959. The Erster draft talks of the menace to human survival in much of the dominant technology, of shortening the work life and democratizing the workplace itself, of fighting bureaucracy, including the bureaucracies of the social democratic welfare state, and of putting an end to the Cold War. It is in many ways an attempt to synthesize the two cultures of the left, demanding a socially and ecologically responsible industrial society. Well. Huh. 1984, huh? So the ideas about socialism discussed in this and the following chapter are not the speculations of an individual, but a personal statement of themes that are becoming more and more important to mass socialist parties as they try to deal with the new economic, political, and social realities. It is precisely because there is such a response that I asserted in the first chapter that the existing socialist movement, with all its failures, remains the only serious hope for a theory and practice of freedom adequate to the 21st century. For it is struggling to define not simply a new social structure of accumulation, important as that is, but the first steps toward a new civilization as well. A possible synthesis of the work of the two lefts can emblematically, for it is expressed in the symbol that has been adopted by socialist parties around the world, a fist holding a rose. Oh my goodness, let's hope you have not been marked as the beast, huh? That fist is a traditional sign of proletarian power and strength, arose an inheritance from the youthful revolt of 1968, when it was seen that gentleness and imagination were at least as important as the means of production. What follows is a brief account of the effort to unite the fist and the rose of a new socialism. I'm more concerned with East and West Berlin, huh? Right? The two halves get severed, and then somebody does something before bringing them back together for synthesis. Is that what we got going on right here? Sounds exactly like what we got going on right here. But the problem is, it's deja vu, right? Because we got a situation very similar to what was announced in late December, early January, between 2019 and 2020. Remember? They closed off the airports, but then they only allowed certain airports open. It happened to be the airports that had, within a few years, thus recently, obtained a specific kind of airport scanner technology. Well, just so you know, I'm still following up on my investigation of that, which, by the way, goes formally all the way back to 2008. Just so you know. But I'm going to look up this Ear draft and see if I can find anything about what ended up happening to that cold fusion program that ended up getting bifurcated at some point in the recent past, and only one of those halves has thus far been acknowledged.